Narabandhu Lokinath Lokera Jivana Lokinath Lokera Jivana Sri Garu Karuna Sindhu Arabasa Narabandhu Sri Garu Karuna Sindhu Arabasa Narabandhu Lokinath Lokera Jivana Lokinath Lokera Jivana Ha Prabhu Kara Daya Deha More Parachaya Aha Prabhu Kara Daya Deha More Parachaya Ah, Prabhu Kara Jaya Deha More Parachaya Hare Asmisi Tribhuvana Hare Asmisi Tribhuvana Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Jaya Prabhupada 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 Hey Prabhupada 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 The Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON VVT Founder Church Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Church Stotra Sata Shri Srimad. The Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navarit Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Srimati Tulsi Devi Maharani Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Brihat Mridanga Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Kartik Vrata Ki Gaur Premanande Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki. All glories to the Assembly devotees, all glories to the Assembly devotees, all glories to the Assembly devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gaurang, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Aram Sachidanandaru
Lasat kundalango kule brajomanam Yashoda Vyalokha Labdha Bhamanam Paramishtamatanta Druta Gopa Yashoda Vyalokha Labdha Bhamanam Paramishtamatanta Yashoda Vyalokha Labdha Bhamanam Paramishtamatanta Druta Gopa Yashoda Vyalokha Labdha Bhamanam Paramishtamatanta Druta Gopa Rudantam mohurnetra jugmami jantam Karambuja jugmena shatam kanetram Rudantam mohurnetra Karambuja jugmena shatam kanetram Moho sasakam patirekhanka kanta Sthitai garbhadamodaram bhakti vadam Moho sasakam Iti drikshalilabhirananda kunde Saghosam nimajantam aikapayantam 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 Tadiyeshitagyesu bhakte jitatam Puna prematastam satabriti bande Tadiyeshitagyesu bhakte prematastam Tadiyeshitagyesu bhakte jitatam Puna prematastam satabriti bande Varam deva moksham na mokshavadhim va Na chanam vrineham vare shadapiha Varam deva moksham na chanam vrineham vare shadapiha Idam te vapurnatha gopala balam सदा में मनसा वीरास्ता की मन्ने दानदेव पूर्णता गोपाल बालम सदा में मनसा वीरास्ता की Vidante mukhambujaya tantanilay Vitam kuntalay snigdha raktesha gopay Vidante mukhambujaya tantanilay Talay snigdha raktesha gopay Mohushchumbitam bimba raktadharam me Manasha virasta malam lakshalabhay Manasha virastam bimba Manasha virastam malam lakshalabhay Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu Prashida Prabodukha Jalabdimagnam Namo Deva Damodarananta Prashida Prabodukha Kripa drishti brishtate dinam batano grihane shamamagyam edakshi dishe Kripa drishti brishtate dinam batano Kuberatma javada morte bhajadvan Dayamuchita bhakti bhajo krita cha Kuberatma javada bhakti तथा प्रेम भक्तिं सा काम्य प्रजाचा न मोक्षे ग्रहमेस्ति दामोदरेहा तथा प्रेम भक्तिं सा काम्य प्रजाचा Namaste studamne sporadipti damne tadiyadarayatha vishashadamne Namaste studamne sporadipti damne tadiyadarayatha vishashadamne Namo Radhikaye Tadiya Priyaye Namayananta Leelaya Devaya Tubam Namo Radhikaye Tadiya Priyaye Namayananta Leelaya Devaya Tubam Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara, Radhe Radha Damodara, Jaya Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar, Radhe Radha Shama Sundar, Jaya Jashoda Damodara, 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 Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. To the Supreme Controller, who possesses an eternal form of blissful knowledge, whose glistering earrings swing to and fro, who manifested himself in Gokula, who stole the butter that the gopis kept hanging from the rafter of their storerooms, and who then quickly jumped up and ran in retreat in fear of Mother Yashoda, but was ultimately caught. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. Upon seeing his mother's whipping stick, he cried and rubbed his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes were fearful, his breathing quick, and as Mother Yashoda bound his belly with ropes, he shivered in fright, and his pearl necks shook. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, who is bound with his devotees' love, I offer my humble obeisances. Those super excellent pastimes of Lord Krishna's babyhood drown the inhabitants of Gokul in pools of ecstasy. To the devotees who are attracted only to his majestic aspect of Narayan in Vaikuntha, the Lord herein reveals, I am conquered and overwhelmed by pure loving devotion. To the Supreme Lord Damodar, my obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times. O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benediction, I do not pray to you for liberation, nor eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon. My only prayer is that your childhood pastime may constantly appear in my mind. O Lord, I do not even want to know your feature of Paramatma. I simply wish that your childhood pastime may ever be enacted in my heart. O Lord, the cheeks of your blackish lotus face, which is encircled by locks of curling hair, have become reddened like bimba fruit due to Mother Yashoda's kisses. What more can I describe than this? Millions of opulences are of no use to me, but may this vision constantly remain in my mind. O unlimited Vishnu, O Master, O Lord, be pleased upon me. I am drowning in an ocean of sorrow and I am almost like a dead man. Please shower the rain of mercy on me, uplift me, and protect me with your nectarian vision. O Lord Damodar, in your form as a baby mother, Jashoda bound you to a grinding stone with a rope for tying cows. You then freed the sons of Kubera, Manigriva and Nal Kubera, who were cursed to stand as trees, and you gave them the chance to become your devotees. Please bless me in the same way. I have no desire for liberation into your effulgence. O Lord, the entire universe was created by Lord Brahma, who was born from your abdomen, which was bound with a rope by Mother Jashoda. To this rope I offer my humble obeisances. I offer my obeisances to your most beloved Srimati Radharani and to your unlimited pastime. Shri Shri Radha Damodar ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. So I'm going to read, today we have some auspicious day. It's the Krishna Rasa Yatra. You can see Radhe Shyam looks like they're dressed and ready for their Rasa Yatra tonight. It's the marriage of Tulsi and Shalagram Vivaha, and it's the appearance of Nimbarkacharya. So I thought I'd just read a little bit about Sri Nimbarkacharya. He is believed to have lived around the 11th and 12th centuries. So the four Kumaras gave him the Radha Krishna mantra and instructed him in the method of worshipping Radha and Krishna with the sentiments of great love called Bhava Marg. In that sacred Bael forest, Nimbarka began to worship Shri Shri Radha Krishna according to the Sanat Kumara Samhita, and he chanted the mantra they had given him. Very soon Radha and Krishna revealed themselves to Nimbarka. They stood before him spreading an effulgence which illuminated all directions. In sweet voices they addressed him thus: Nimbarka, you are very fortunate, for you have performed sadhana in Sri Navadvip. We both combine and assume one form as the son of Sachi Devi. At that moment, Radha and Krishna combined and displayed their form of Gauranga. Beholding this splendid vision, Nimbarka began to tremble. Never, never have I ever seen or heard of such a form at any time, he said. Lord Gauranga then said, keep this form which I now show you a secret for the time being. Just preach about devotional service and the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, for I gain great satisfaction from this. When I make my appearance and perform my education pastimes, you will also appear. Taking birth in Kashmir as a great pundit, you will tour all over India, defeating all opposition. Your reputation and learning will be celebrated everywhere, and you will be known as Keshava Kashmiri. Whilst wandering in Sri Navadvip, you will come to Sri Mayapur. Simply by hearing your name, all the great pundits of Navadvip will flee. Intoxicated with scholastic pride, I will take great pleasure in defeating you. However, by the mercy of Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, you will realize my true identity. Giving up your false pride, you will take shelter of me, and I will reward you with the supreme gift of loving devotional service, and will again dispatch you to preach. Thus you can satisfy me by preaching the philosophy of Dvaita Advaita. Keep my identity a secret. In the future, when I begin my Sankirtan movement, I will personally preach, taking the essence of your philosophy and the philosophies of Madhava, Ramanuja, and Vishnu Swami. After instructing Nimbarka in this way, Lord Gauranga disappeared, and filled with intense ecstasy, Nimbarka began to shed tears of love. After worshipping the lotus feet of his gurus and taking their permission, he left Sri Navadvip to begin his preaching mission. So this was taken from the Sri Navadvip Dham Mahatmya. I can put it on the board outside if you want to read it more. There's a little bit more to it than I read. So I want to welcome Hamsarupa Prabhu. Is he in here? I saw him this morning. We hardly ever get to see him. He might be outside. But he's always traveling in India now, doing a lot of service there. So it's very nice when we get to see him. And Nitradita Prabhu and his wife Radha Dasi are visiting. Hare Krishna. Welcome to New Raman Reti. We're glad to have you here. So we have a lot of ski light sponsors for this last day of Kartik and the last day of Bhishma Panchaka. So I'm going to read them all to you first, and then we can all appreciate them and give them your blessings. Guru Prasad Devi Dasi sponsored today. Jai Gauri and Mahavir sponsored in honor of their children. Radhika Raman Prabhu sponsored today. There was a sponsorship made in the name of Maria, Vanessa Abhai, and Prasanna Chaitadas. Pran Govinda Prabhu sponsored today. Rasa Leela Devi Dasi sponsored for the blessings for her sister, Astra, who is having some health crisis at this time. Varuna Prabhu sponsored for Braj Mandala Priya, his niece. And so we want to bless all these very nice devotees and appreciate them. And all the devotees who sponsored Ghee Lights throughout this month, we very much appreciate it. 7 p.m. this evening in the Temple Room, we have the first of a series of talks by Govinda Dasi. This is questions and answers about Srila Prabhupada. So everyone is welcome to come and ask any question, and she'll answer to her best of her ability. This is a very early disciple of His Divine Grace, so she has a lot of personal experience living with him and hearing from him. And somehow Krishna arranges, I've noticed, like all these very early disciples have very clear and memories of this time, which was almost 50 years ago now. And it's quite wonderful that they retain so much of that very special time with Srila Prabhupada. So don't miss it. You can also hear it on the internet. And I think for the rest of this month on Thursday evening, she'll give this presentation. I'm reminding you, we have this art show in Gainesville this weekend. We have a book table there. All the slots have been filled up. So we are now looking for more and more cookie bakers because we distribute many, many pieces of prasadam. At least 1,000 will go out. So if you can make any amount of cookies, bring them to the temple Friday morning or Saturday morning. That would be fantastic. And okay, that's what I have today. So these are the devotees who assisted their spiritual master dressing the deities today. Shishi Radha Sham Sundar was Nanda Prabhu. Chota Radha Sham Sundar, Leela Prabhu. Shishi Krishna Balaram, Sharala Prabhu. Chota Krishna Balaram, Guru Prasad Prabhu. Shishi Gornatai, Ananda Vardhani Prabhu. Chota Gornatai, Ekadasi Vrata Prabhu. And the Gurus and Lord Nrsingadev, Krishna Kripa Moya Prabhu, and Dharmaraj Prabhu is giving class today.
Thank you very much. Jada-da-ma-dava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamunatira Vanachariya. Jamunatira Vanachariya. Jaya Radha Madhava
Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astavrasata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charna Vrinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Gir Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki, Shri Gagamai Ki Jai, Shri Jamnamai Ki Jai, Shrimati Tulsi Devi Maharani Ki Jai, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, The Lordship Shri Shri Radhesham Sundar Ki Jai, The Lordship Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai, The Lordship Shri Shri Gaunitai Ki Jai, The Lordship Shri Shri Lakshmana Shingadev Ki Jai, Shri Damodar Ki Jai, ISKCON Ramanrati Dham Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. So, I happen to have missed the first part of the announcement, so if I repeat anything, then please bear. Just today there are several auspicious days, which one is the marriage of Tulsi and Krishna. The other is the second night of the Rasa Yatra, which is the Rasa Leela, the first being 2 fortnights ago. And for that reason that the deities are wearing white. It's a custom that on the Rasa Yatra day, the deities would wear white. It's also described that on the first Rasa Leela that was performed in Vrindavan, this second Rasa Leela is more performed in Navadvip. There that the devotees would decorate Radha and Krishna and with lots and lots of flowers, and they worship them in that way. So it's also the last day of Kartik, the last of the 5 days of Vishnu Panchaka, as we all know, and of course the appearance of Nimbarkacharya. Okay, so I'll step up the volume a little bit. So anyway, we heard a lot of nice gist of Nimbarkacharya being the head of the Kumara Sampradaya. Hare Krishna doesn't seem to want to stay. So anyway, today we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 53, entitled Krishna Kidnaps Rukmini. We will do text 25 through 31. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we can do verse 25 responsively, and the others we'll do simultaneously. So 25. Durbagaya namedata Nanukulo Maheshwaraha Devi Navimukti Gauri Rudrani Girijasati Durbagaya namedata Nanukulo Maheshwaraha Devi va Vimukhi Gauri Rudrani Girijasati Durbagaya namedata Nanukulo Maheshwaraha Devi na Vimukhi Gauri Rudrani Girijasati. Please chant. Mothers. Okay. Rudrani Girijasati. Okay, so word for word. Durbagayaha, who is unfortunate. Na, not. Me, with me. Data, the creator, Lord Brahma. Na, not. Anukulaha, favorably disposed. Maha Ishwaraha, the great Lord Shiva. Devi, the goddess, his consort. Va, or. Vimukhi, turned against. Gauri, Gauri. Rudrani, the wife of Rudra. Girija, the adopted daughter of the Himalayan mountain range. Sati, Sati, who in her previous life as the daughter of Daksha chose to give up her body. The translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Translation: I am extremely unfortunate, for the Creator is not favorably disposed towards me, nor is the great Lord Shiva, or perhaps Shiva's wife, Devi, who is known as Gauri, Rudrani, Girija, and Sati, has turned against me. Purport: Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti explains that Rukmini might have thought, quote, even if Krishna wanted to come, he might have been stopped on the path by the Creator, Brahma, who is not favorably inclined toward me. But why should he be unfavorable? Perhaps it is Maheshwara, Lord Shiva, whom on some occasion I did not properly worship, and who thus became angry with me. But he is Maheshwara, the great controller, so why would he be angry with such an insignificant and foolish girl as me? Perhaps it is Shiva's wife, Gauri Devi, who is displeased, though I worship her every day. Alas, alas, how have I offended her so that she has turned against me? But after all, she is Rudrani, the wife of Rudra, and her very name means one who makes everyone cry. So perhaps she and Shiva want me to cry. But seeing that I am so miserable, about to give up my life, why don't they soften their attitude? The reason must be that Goddess Devi is Girija, an adopted daughter, so why should she be soft-hearted? In her incarnation as Sati, she gave up her body, so perhaps she now wants me to give up my body also. Thus, the Acharya, with realized poetic sensitivity, interprets the various names used in this verse. Krishna. So, text 26, we can do together. Evam chintayati bala govinda ritamanasa nyamilayata kalagya netre chakshu kalakule. As she thought in this way, the young maiden, whose mind had been stolen by Krishna, closed her tear-filled eyes, remembering that there was still time. Purport? Srila Sridhar Swami explains the word kalagya as follows. Rukmini thought, it is not even the right time yet for Govinda to come, and thus she felt a bit consoled. 27. Evam vadva pratikshantya Govinda gamanan ripa vama uhur bhajor naitram aspuran priyabhashinaha. O king, as the bride thus awaited the arrival of Govinda, she felt a twitch in her left thigh, arm, and eye. This is a sign that something desirable would happen. 28. Ata Krishna nivirdishta saeva dvijasa tamaha antapura charim devim rajaputrim dadarshaha. Thus then, just then, that purest of learned Brahmanas, following Krishna's order, came to see the divine Princess Rukmini within the inner chambers of the palace. Purport. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, Sri Krishna had reached the gardens outside the city, and out of concern for Rukmini, he had instructed the Brahmana to tell her of his arrival. 29. Satam praristadavanam avyagrata gatim sati alakshya lakshana bhignya sama prichakchuti smitaha. Noting the Brahmana's joyful face and serene movements, saintly Rukmini, who could expertly interpret such symptoms, inquired from him with a pure smile. 30. Tasya vidayata praptam sasamsa yadunandanam uktam cha satyam vachanam apnopayanam prati. The Brahmana announced to her the arrival of Lord Yadunandana and relayed the Lord's promise to marry her. And 31. Tamagatam samagyaya Vaidarbhi rishtamanasa napasyanti brahmanaya priyamanyam nanamasa. Princess Vaidarbhi was overjoyed to learn of Krishna's arrival. Not finding anything at hand suitable to offer the Brahmana, she simply bowed down to him. Om Jnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Srila Vibhava Prabhuti Namane Shri Shri Vrindatavi Vira Padapad Pankaja Dayane Prabhupada Anavadaya Namas Shri Vibhave. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Srila Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatayani. So, what I would like to do is to take a little more time and read the purports of the Sarartha Darshani, which was written by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So, the purported verse 25 here is more of a summary, per se, of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti's actual purport given in his book. So, if you can probably put back verse 25, and I'll just read the purports and go down. There are several purports to pretty much every verse here, and it gives some more insight on these pastimes and intimate relationship with Rukmini Devi. So the Pope Vishwanath Chakravarti's purport to text 25 is, this verse reveals the intense anxiety of Rukmini, who thought maybe Krishna did want to come, but he was stopped on the path by the Creator, Brahma, who is not favorably inclined toward me. But why should he be unfavorable? Perhaps the cause is Lord Shiva, who has become angry because of my failure to properly worship him on some occasion. But he is Maheshwara, the great controller, so why should he be angry with such an insignificant and foolish girl as me? Perhaps it is Shiva's wife, Gauri Devi, who is somehow displeased with me, even though I worship her every day. Alas, alas, how have I offended her so that she has turned against me? But after all, she is Rudrani, the wife of Rudra, and her very name means one who makes everyone cry. So perhaps she and Shiva want me to cry. But seeing that I am so miserable that I am about to give up my life, why don't they soften their hearts? There must be some fault in Gauri's heritage. The reason must be that Durga Devi is also called Girija, the adopted daughter of a mountain, Girija. So how could her heart melt, being so stone-like? In her incarnation as Sati, she gave up her body, so perhaps she now wants me to give up my body too. And go to verse 26. Rukmini thought, O fickle mind, do not prepare to give up this body now, because the time of Krishna's coming has not yet passed. Therefore, before giving up this body, let me now see Krishna's face in meditation. Please do not prevent this, dear mind. Please do not prevent this, dear mind. Then she closed her eyes. 27. Rukmini's left thigh and other bodily limbs trembled, which are signs of auspiciousness. Priya Banisaha. 28. The Brahmana was especially ordered by Krishna, go quickly and tell Rukmini that I have reached the city gardens. The word Devim means that in the rapture of seeing Krishna in her meditation, Rukmini was glowing. Due to her extreme absorption in meditation on Krishna, Rukmini was walking inside her chambers with the purpose of going to Krishna. 29. I, Sunanda Brahmana, so this is the Brahmana is speaking now. I, Sunanda Brahmana, have come now from the side of your beloved. Please cast your glance upon me, said the Brahmana in a loud voice. Thus roused from her meditation, Rukmini looked at the Brahmana as described in this verse. Noticing his serenity and the face, Rukmini's anxiety disappeared. Rukmini was expert in reading omens, so she understood that the Brahmana was successful in his mission because of his blissful countenance and the twitching of her left eye. Rukmini then smiled slightly, indicating her genuine joy. Previously, she had been falsely smiling to hide her inner suffering. 30. He announced to her that Yadunandana had arrived. He described how Krishna had promised to marry her, relating his words such as Tam Anayisha, I will bring Rukmini here to Dwarka. And 31. What can I give to this Brahmana to satisfy him as remuneration? Thinking like this, Rukmini simply bowed down. Since she did not see any dear thing, Priya means dear, to express her indebtedness, even the offering of her own self. But at that very moment, the house of the Brahmana became filled with all sorts of treasures. This was the response of Mahalakshmi to show her gratitude. So remember, Rukmini Devi was actually the goddess of fortune. So anyway, this gives quite an insight of the intricacies of Rukmini's position as a great devotee and her expressions of these different qualities of devotees and these different emotions. So it's quite stunning to me to see how these can actually manifest. Me as a neophyte devotee, I always think differently. Well, these would manifest in a different way. Like when I first learned about the 6 Goswamis, how their lives were so simple and austere, that they were very big and great devotees. So I'm thinking, well, you're going to see them on a very high platform with all these opulence and just being up there. Actually, when I joined the movement, that was my thought of the temple president, that he was like this big, great king, and, we worship him like that. So when I start reading about the 6 Goswamis, understanding how austere they are, just wearing one piece of cloth, living under a different tree every evening, it was kind of hard for me to conceive one with that qualification being in that position. So to blend the quality of humility as one of the greatest qualities of a devotee was kind of pretty difficult for me to conceive of. Of course, until I went to Vrindavan, then I actually see some of these things where great personalities or remnants of great personalities there, that their situation was so very simple. But they express a lot of ecstasies. And here we find that Rukmini Devi was expressing some of these ecstasies, manifesting some of these qualities, manifesting some of these emotions that we find in devotional service. That back in verse 25, she was literally like blaming these great personalities. We learned that that's something that we shouldn't do in devotional service. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj says that whenever you're pointing one finger to someone, remember you're pointing 3 to yourselves. So this is one quality we see here, that Rukmini, she's actually kind of thinking that maybe these are the personalities that are blocking her access to Krishna. These are the personalities that are standing in her way. So in a sense, she's kind of blaming them. But then she's describing, well, this personality has this issue, like Rudrani and Sati, that they have these issues, that they gave up their lives, so therefore they probably want me to do the same. So if we actually look at it, we would find that Rukmini Devi is kind of we can say it's a sort of a madness, kind of describing all these different things in the madness of her ecstasy. So we found that not long ago we were describing the Radharani speaking to the bumblebee, and she was expressing similar kind of a madness, this mada. But this madness is divine. It's Divyan matter. So it's a high level of spiritual ecstasy. We find Lord Chaitanya also manifested these. Even in Shikshashtaka, it's there. He manifested this madness, sometimes he was very eager. Then he became patient. He expresses symptoms of melancholy, which is a kind of a depression. So all these symptoms are there in the life of a devotee, especially advanced devotees. These symptoms and these emotions are there. So here Rukmini Devi is expressing some of these emotions. If we try doing this, blaming these demigods and great personalities, I can assure you the result's going to be different. They're going to be the same. But Rukmini Devi, she can say like this because she's qualified. Like, on first look, I was pretty surprised in Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's book, Lord Chaitanya, His Life and Precepts. He actually criticized the Vaishnavas because they criticized the other religious practitioners like the Christians and whoever. So can we practice that? Can we do that? Or can I do that? Definitely not. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was qualified to present that statement. So similarly here, Rukmini Devi, with all it, she's in this ecstasy of wanting to see Krishna, and she's in this Divyan Mada, this divine madness, that she's pointing fingers to these personalities. She's also expressing another aspect of devotional service. And actually, this is here in the Bhagavad Gita, in the second chapter, text 69 of I don't want to paraphrase it, so I'll read it exactly. The verse of the introspective sage. That's a very, very popular verse. We're all very familiar with it. That what is night for all beings is a time of awakening for the self-controlled, and a time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. So here's another quality that Sri Rukmini Devi is manifesting, this quality of devotional service, of being always introspective. So what she's manifesting here is she's thinking and introspecting herself that why is it that I'm not able to get quicker the darshan of Krishna and get to his lotus feet? Is it because I've offended Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva's wife? Because as we know that the temple that she would go to every day, she would actually worship Lord Shiva and his wife. So she's thinking in this way that maybe I've committed some offenses. So a devotee thinks in this way. He always introspects himself that with his day's activities, sometimes in the nights, he would reflect what I've done for the day, and have I offended anyone, or have I not done something that would bring me closer to devotional service? So it's imperative that one thinks like this if we're not at the moment, to always introspect our lives, to always be awake, to be awake to ignorance. Don't be like the outsiders, to sleep through the actual realities of life, but to be fully aware and be conscious of what our surroundings are, what our setbacks are, and how we can make the best use of those situations. So another quality that she manifested here is like when she fell silent. Lord Chaitanya described this as this melancholy. You know, she got morose, she got kind of depressed, and fell silent. So in this way, also is that she showed symptoms of patience, which is another quality of the devotee. There are two main qualities, Shraddha, Utsahan. Shraddha is faith or patience, and Utsahan is enthusiasm. So in devotional service, these two qualities must go hand in hand. We must be eager to serve Krishna and achieve him as quickly as possible. At the same time, we must be patient enough to wait for as long as it takes. I think was it Mother Akuti was talking about the one person and Mother Lashmani the other day of how long more should they wait for this chanting to work. So this patience must be there, that we are eager to serve, eager to perform devotion service to our utmost ability and with the greatest care. At the same time, we must be patient that if it takes this lifetime or lifetimes to achieve the goal of Krishna consciousness, that we are prepared to wait for it. So this is some of the contrast in the quality that a devotee possesses, and which Rukmini Devi is showing here. One other thing here about Rukmini Devi is that what is mentioned that she was very expert in reading omens and symptoms. It is not uncommon for a Vedic woman, or a woman in Vedic times, to be very, very qualified, especially the Kshatriya ladies. With all, you don't generally hear so much about them, but they are very, very qualified. They are expert in military science, in psychology, in the art of dancing. They understand knowledge of the Vedic scriptures. Like Rukmini, for example, she just heard of Krishna's pastimes, and she knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are so many sages, so many sadhus, so many brahmanas used to go through the palace and talk about the Vedic scriptures, talks about culture, talks about religiosity. But she had fine-tuned intelligence. She was able to conclude that this is it. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I want to achieve the highest goal. So that's first-class intelligence. So we find there are many other personalities in Vedic times that they were also very, very qualified. Even in the Mahabharata with Arjun's wife, Ulupi, the princess of Manipur, she was actually very, very expert in the military science, actually to such an extent that when she was a little child, her parents always dressed her like a boy because they had wanted a son. And she grew up dressed like a boy, and everyone thought that she was a boy. And she fought in war. She did everything that a Kshatriya would do. She was ruling the kingdom also, helping her father, until she met Arjuna. That's when her feminine nature kicked in. So they were very qualified. There are many instances, like Kunti Devi. She was so very qualified. And Draupadi, do you know what it takes to control 5 men like the Pandava brothers, who are the most powerful Kshatriyas on earth? It's no ordinary thing to control them. That Kunti had to be very qualified to keep them under her control. And Draupadi. That's why Draupadi actually acted later on as an instructor to Rukmini and the other wives of Krishna, because she was so expert in serving her husbands. She was so expert that she was able to serve 5 of them at once and control them. And not 5 ordinary people, 5 like the Pandavas. It's if you actually learn of their character and their actual qualities and their strength, it's really hell on earth to stand next to them, not to speak of keeping them under control. You know, with their divine qualities and their Kshatriya qualities. So in Vedic culture, these women, they're very, very qualified. With all them, it just appears to be like ordinary, but they're highly, highly qualified to take this stance. So And also one thing is that they were very good at understanding symptoms and reading symptoms. It's one part of Vedic science and possibly Vedic astrology too, that look at these symptoms. Even Maharaj Yudhishthira, in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, we learned that when, after the war, everything was settled, Maharaj Yudhishthira was established back on the throne, Krishna left. He went back to his city, Dwarka. At that time, his dear friend Arjuna went to visit him. And Arjuna stayed for a long time. He spent 7 months. And we all know that's the time when Krishna left the planet. In the meanwhile, Maharaj Yudhishthira was seeing very inauspicious omen. He was seeing the jackal was crossing from his left to his right, was seeing dark clouds in the sky, and there were so many omens that is described there in the purports by Srila Prabhupada in the Bhagavatam. And Yudhishthira Maharaj concluded, said the only reason for this is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has left the planet. Even though he didn't want to conclude, that was the hardest thing for him to do, to conclude that Krishna has actually left. There's a whole really nice pastimes in the chapter entitled "The Pandavas Retired Timely." So it's a thing in Vedic culture that you can look at symptoms and tell what's going to happen. Like for a woman, it says when the left side of the body is twitching, the eye, the thighs, the legs, then it's auspicious. And for the men, it's the right. Embarrassing enough, I want to, for myself, it's like the opposite. That if my left side or my left eye twitches, it's more something auspicious. And my right is the opposite. But generally, with men, it's the opposite. Even though it's not described here, but there are other parts where it says. So these are some of the qualities of Rukmini Devi, and these descriptions should be carefully understood from a philosophical point of view, that one should pull something out of context that, Rukmini Devi, she's pointing fingers to these great demigods for her apparent misfortune, therefore we should do the same. No, it's very, very important that we understand where she was coming from, what's her status in devotional service. Like one time, there was a Govardhan Puj celebration somewhere, and next thing you know, that they had a big hill in the middle of the temple room, and Srila Prabhupada was upstairs in his room, and all hell break loose, whole madness going on in the temple room. So one devotee went up and complained to Prabhupada. He said, Srila Prabhupada, the devotees are just throwing prasadam all over, and that's an offense. They're throwing prasadam all over the place. And Prabhupada said, who started it? He said, Jayananda Prabhu started it. He said, okay, if he does it, it's all right. So because his status was different, if he does something like that, which appears to be, I don't want to comment more, but he's qualified. So similarly, qualification is the first standard that one should look at. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada would many times say, don't worry, I can chastise, I can call them rascals, but they won't take me seriously, I'm an old man. But you don't try that. I remember one time with my Guru Maharaj, we had a Harinam in the marketplace in Guyana, and just outside was the government office for the entire municipality. It was just outside. We were doing Harinam there on a Friday. That's the busiest market day. And all these officials, they came out for lunch, and they were attracted by this Kirtan, and they all came around, I don't know, maybe 40 of them. And then I told him, I was his servant, I told him these are all the officials from the government here. And he stopped the Kirtan and he started a lecture. And he was very heavy with them. He was really heavy. He was calling them asses and rascals, that they are the leaders of this county. They are the leader of the entire region. So therefore they should understand that Krishna consciousness should be the topmost goal, and they should learn to accept and adopt this and lead people in the right way. So he did it for about 20 minutes, and everybody was stunned. They were carefully listening to him. And then when he finished, they all left. Then he turned to me. He said, "You don't ever try that. They would smack you in the face." He said, "I can do it." So here is the other thing is that you have, when one is qualified, then sometimes different things can come out that we cannot imitate. That's why Srila Prabhupada taught us the art of following, not imitating. That one should follow in the footsteps, not imitate the footsteps of our line and devotees and so forth. So there are a lot more here to be discussed. The time is running out, so I'll stop there. If anyone has any questions or comments, we can take them. Kalyapani Prabhu?
I hesitate to bring this up because it's such a hot topic, but someone with the qualifications of Rukmini Devi, Kshatriya woman in all fields, spiritual and material, so qualified, but yet she doesn't take any position. And I was in Canada recently, a young lady, a young woman devotee came up to me and said the same thing, that I've got 2 university degrees, I know the philosophy really well, I have management skills, should there be equal opportunity for expressing these skills, for putting these skills into effect? She was a preacher. She runs a university program, and she was asked this question.
Yeah.
And she didn't. She was asking me how to reply to it. Could you make some comment on this?
Yeah. Basically, we all have, both men and women. We have equal opportunity. It's there. There's no discrimination. So we have to apply that. We find in our Gaudiya tradition, who is one of our first spiritual teachers, Mother Janavi. I think Tamahar Prabhu was describing this the other day. She's one of the first that she took up that responsibility to preach vigorously Krishna consciousness. So everyone has that opportunity. It's a matter for them to take the charge, to go out and do it. I know, like, my kids always get on my wife's case that she's such an expert singer, that why don't she come out and lead Kirtan or wherever. Her whole life as a Gurukul, I known her since she was 10 years old. And all she does every day, like, I don't know, how many hours a day? 6, 7 hours a day, pretty much, is Kirtan all the time. I'm talking about like 7 days a week. So my kids always get on her case that, okay, you have such an ability, why not use it for Krishna service? Why not do? And she expressed shyness. So, we all have the opportunity, but we have to come forward and use those qualifications in Krishna's service. In the very first verse of the Upadeshamrita, what does it say? Vachu vegam, manasa kroda vegam, jiva vega, udarapasta vegam. What is the rest? Yeah. What's the meaning? Right. Did that verse says only women or only men? No. Everyone, anyone. As long as you have those qualifications, as long as you can control and you can, you're qualified in that way. Rupa Goswami says you're qualified to make disciples, you're qualified to preach, you're qualified to give. So there's no discrimination. It's a matter of we having the ability and coming forward. Like somebody asked me the other day, I don't know who. I was on a Skype conversation somewhere I don't know where, but anyway, somewhere overseas. And one of the questions they asked that, I mentioned they asked me what's some of my programs here. It's part of a place where I have some responsibility. I'm not recalling what it is. So they asked me what's my service here. So among other things, I said, well, I would give class like once a month or so. And I said, even though I don't think that I should be. So, because we have so many devotees in this community that are qualified, that are senior to myself and can give so much. And then I asked, well, why aren't they speaking? Why aren't these, so many qualified devotees, 700 devotees in this community? I said, well, maybe some of them don't want to come forward. I can't say for sure. But I know that many devotees have so many qualifications. They know the philosophy so very well. And I had my tail burnt with that when some years ago I took up the service for taking up the tithing here. One time the tithing program at Temple had fell apart, and some or the other the devotees learned that I did that in Miami and was very successful, so they asked me to take it up. So I took it up and for 2.5 months, and I was contacting all the devotees, and 90% of them are, like senior, very, very senior devotees. And then I thought, well, you know what? Before I contact them, it's better I get some advice, because these are all senior devotees. I should learn how to deal with them, learn how to. So one person that helped me a lot is Kalakanta Prabhu. He's expert in this field. So he gave me some coaching. And he said, first thing, do not discuss philosophy with these devotees. Because why? Because they already know the philosophy. Secondly, do not tell them to serve, because they have done that already. They have already served their entire life. And there are some other points that he mentioned, but these are two that were significant. So I said, well, what else am I going to do? So he said, you just be sincere, and Krishna would probably, give you some understanding. And indeed it worked, like I contacted devotees, and they're all highly qualified, and things worked, and everything, the tithing came back up. It was a really, really nice program. So these qualifications are there, but sometimes we don't come forward to bring it. And so this onus is on us to come forward. Like Srila Prabhupada says, he says, my shower is always there. My shower is mercy. All you have to do is step out of the house and come out and take the shower. So with all, you might be qualified, like it's raining outside, you need the rain, but you're hiding in the house, so just come out and take the shower. So there are many qualified devotees in our society, very, very qualified. So we just have to, come forward and give. Yeah.
I accept that answer for the current situation, the modern setting. Would you give the same answer to Rukmini Devi if she asked you the question in the Vedic setting, that she needs to just come forward, she needs to get out there?
I probably would, because you can see examples of Queen Kunti, that when her husband passed away, she took that leading role, she took that charge, and she had that arrangement with her co-wife, what's her name? Madri, that you perform the sati rite with her husband, and I'll go forward and lead these Pandavas. So she did took up that charge of take that leading role, and until we know the whole story, history ensued from there on. So yes, I would do that. There are many instances where some woman, yet again, Ulupi. She took the charge, she ruled the kingdom, she was such a powerful person. There are many examples of women in Vedic times who took very leading role. They're highly qualified. And of course, there's one saying that behind every great man, there is a great woman. One time, the other day, one of our tenants came to see me at my workplace. This older black gentleman, he has been married for over 50 years, was like history, one of the original wife from 50 years. So then, he always liked to joke, So then one of my coworkers asked him, he said, you seem to have a very good relationship. And you seems to be like the boss, like you're leading this relationship and going on very nicely. So he said, yes, I am the boss, like I am the head, but what turns the head? He says the neck that turns the head, so she's the neck. So they are very great personalities. And even we see in every sober relationship, even in Krishna consciousness, if you look deeply behind it and see one of the reasons that relationship stands out is because of a very good wife behind there. So they're leading, like there's also saying that a wife controls by letting the husband think that he's in charge. If you ever heard that. So of course, and then in America we always hear that saying, well, the wives are the leaders, So it's, yes, I would with full confidence, I would say yes, I would say that to Rukmini Devi if I had a chance. Sure, Kram Prabhu.
I think, I don't want to contradict you really, but like in the Vedic setting, a woman is always under the protection of her husband and the society and everything.
Yeah.
And as such, she has a role to play, like in the house, she takes care of this, she does the financing and everything. So that's there, but in terms of go out for battle and leading and stuff like that, that's a different case really. I think that was what he was hinting about. And that's not possible in a Vedic setting, you see? Because if you need protection, then really you can't give protection. So let me finish. So, and that's a Vedic injunction also. See, in the law book of Manu, that's clearly stated and explain why, and there's so much details and everything.
No, anyway, you finish?
Let me finish.
Yeah.
In the case with Kunti, because her husband died, she had to look after the kids. You see? And Marjorie said, because my husband was lustful with me, then I shall do the sati right. It's not like, and she told Kunti to take care of the kids, really. But I mean, taking care of the kids, that's natural anyway, really. But in terms, he was talking about leading and going on battle and be king and different kind of thing. That's a different issue.
I'm still thinking that there's a difference between what Kalyapani Prabhu was saying and what you're bringing up. Is that we're talking about general leadership, not only leadership in like going out there, but leadership in our own self, in our own lives, in that strong stand of our activities. So, like for example, I better not bring that one up, it might not quite fit. But when we talk about leadership, we talk about leadership that brings about a very strong effect and very strong results. And we see that, like, even in our society here.
Support, or like support.
Yeah, well, actually, support, and actually, one can be a leader by not being the senior person. like in a relationship, what you're talking about, by constitution, the husband is a senior person. By qualification, it might not be that way. And even if, or let's take a very flat base example in our society. Srila Prabhupada set up the GBC system. Okay? Now, what you find that many of the GBC members, they are not sannyasis, they are not like, we will say on that higher spiritual plane, and they are managing some of the sannyasis and other devotees who are advanced more than them, per se. I know in my case, in my service, I manage a lot of devotees who are much senior to me, but it doesn't mean that I cannot manage or control with all I'm junior. So in our case, that with these ladies, with all, they may be, junior by constitution, but they still have strong managing qualities that determines the outcome of that manager. You think you get a point I'm making?
Yeah, well, of course, that's a point well noted. But also in this age, in Kali Yuga, there'd be like a role reversal, where it's predicted that women would take up a lot of leadership role.
Yeah.
You're seeing it. I mean, but like the Ayurvedic age.
Yeah, and there's also a reason for that. In Vedic times, there, on the most part, there weren't a need, per se, for women to take up leadership role. Because why? Because everyone was quite responsible. They were able to freely act and behave or perform their duties as a wife, and all of them were married, unlike now where you have probably 50% of the women are single, and probably close to 99% of the men are not responsible. So it's by the age, as the age goes, then there's a need for these different categories to take up this responsibility, whether willingly or forcefully. But in Vedic times, there wasn't that need. There was no need for a woman to go out and work. She would be treated like a queen at home, all being taken care of. She take care of the home, and the husband takes care of everything else. There's no need. So even though she can lead, there is no need. So you see, there's a difference of qualification and need. As in this age, there's a great need. Madam Mohan Prabhu?
Just a short statement is, there's a general rule, and then there's the actual principle that has to be applied in a practical way. So the general rule is generally you don't see that. Yeah. But in specifics, there's no hard and fast rule against it, but there's a general principle that most people, most ladies, they're satisfied in a different way.
Yeah. So that's fully taken. Yeah, Ram Govinda Prabhu.
In this case, that Rukmini, that expressing her anxiety, disparagement, these are taste. This is not like she is lower than Krishna or higher than Krishna. This understanding is not correct. In Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada explained these 33 symptoms, 33 bhava that they serve. One of this is disparagement, criticizing self, that I'm not qualified, which she did a few sloka before, that I'm not qualified, he's so pure, so he's not coming. These are actually tasting. They taste this. It appears in the mundane world that it is painful. Also in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary in Sarartha Darshini, amongst the queens, they had these meetings. Actually 3 times Sukdev Goswami writes that same thing, that each queen figuring out how to subdue the Lord, and they fail. And he gave an example. Even Srila Prabhupada, I heard another lecture Prabhupada one time speaking in 3rd canto, 2nd chapter. You can read one purport. Prabhupada says that Lord Krishna was joking with Rukmini later on. Said, I was born in a coward village. I don't know my caste and father's dynasty is not really clear. You come from a very exalted royal family. I did not know what is love. but you express through letter. Prabhupada says that. And you could have tried any other prince. If I allow you, you can think, still think. Just by hearing this, Prabhupada said, she fainted.
Yeah.
So is she want to control Krishna, or she wants to be controlled by Krishna's love?
Yeah, she wants to be controlled by Krishna.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
So
there is no fight in spiritual world who is controlling.
Yeah, no, I think the topic eventually switched to women taking up leading roles, whether in the material world or in the spiritual realm. So it became that kind of a debate and discussion. But there is no question of Rukmini she didn't want to manage anything. She just wants to be controlled. She wants to serve Krishna, so much so that even all the queens, they even asked that Krishna explained to them his childhood pastimes in Vrindavan with all his rasa dance and everything, and he didn't do it. But of course, Mother Rohini was there, and she did. So she did that, and the result of that is that Lord Jagannath manifested. That's another long, time is running out, so we're going to have the last question with Mother Ragatmika. Okay, whatever it is, chastisement is welcome too.
No, never. I just wanted to mention in this discussion of women and roles that we should not women should not underestimate their power within their realm of influence. We've heard the statement, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. It's in the mother is the first guru. In the Mahabharata, it also states that the woman is the soul of the family. So these things underline the point that women have incredible influence and power to change the world. The most impressionable years of a person's life are the first 5 years, and who's mostly influencing that is the mother.
Yeah.
So, and devotee women are, what an achievement when they're simultaneously managing the household and on top of that raising Vaishnavas and keeping up their sadhana. What an achievement, And then in later years, when the children are out of the home, it's so important to have grandmothers also in this society. More and more there are grandmothers now, and it's a very essential factor in creating the extended family, the whole culture, the spiritual culture. And we see how many women have taken up also leadership roles as presidents and even GBC, because they have this time now and they have the wisdom and inspiration and to cooperate.
I would say also the courage and encouragement that it's given there. Is generally speaking, they're shy, but you can see that boldness coming out, and Krishna is making wonderful arrangements. And, so, thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.